Oh, you were supposed to say that. Wait, do it again.
We're gonna sing.
No, you said, we're gonna sing. Yes, we are gonna sing, Jane.
Okay.
Do you remember what the theme song is?
No.
I'm a little tipsy, I forgot to. Hold on.
Okay, come on.
You want me to sing it first? And then, so it goes like this. Time waster radio. Radio for those who refuse to listen.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Ready.
Okay. Give me countdown or just want to do it?
Countdown.
1, 2, 3.
Time waster radio.
Radio for those who refuse to listen. Perfect.
Yay.
All right.
We've started.
Yeah, we've started, and so has the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, and we're at 22nd and Valencia, in San Francisco. Maybe I shouldn't have disclosed that.
Oh, no, it's cool. We won't be here for too much longer.
As per the San Francisco stories go. And we have a lovely band across the street,
Yes.
who I'm sure you can hear in the background.
Yeah, they are rocking out. We got a sousaphone, baritone sax, and accordions, and clarinets, and trumpets, and everything under the sun. And there's a good crowd of people.
Yeah, there's a cadre of hipsters, and I would say it's a good mix of people, actually.
Yeah, and it's been all winter. I haven't seen them all winter, and now they're back, which means
Spring.
it's here.
It's sprung.
It is. I feel sprung.
And they're playing in front of the Social Security building?
Yes, they are. On the steps of the Social Security building, which further discloses my location, so...
Oh, shit.
That's okay.
Well, not
like
really.
I said, we're not going to be here too much longer.
Well, luckily there's a security door. It's fine.
Yeah, this is San Francisco, so who knows where I'll end up.
What do you do at the Social Security building? Like, do you just go get your card?
Mostly you line up outside, and then a security guard talks to you at about 8 o'clock in the morning and tells you what to do, and then you go inside and you do things.
Okay.
Yeah, and that could be
based on the idea that you were a participating citizen and...
I think it's a pantomime, but maybe not. Maybe they're all undercover cops. I have no idea.
Do you get your Social Security checks from there? I thought they mailed them to you.
Well, people have to go in and, like, I'm sure they have to, like, get paperwork together, prove that they are who they are. Occasionally there are altercations on the doorstep, which I get to view. Yeah, it's really fun. But for the most part, it's pretty sweet because, you know, you'll see, like, a super little old lady trying to get out, and whoever's coming up the stairs helps her down because this is still San Francisco after all.
Yeah.
And we still do love each other. So,
in theory.
Yeah, in theory, you know, it's...
In practice?
In practice, maybe.
I mean, I've definitely I've been to this I've been to the food stamps, or I'm sorry, the EBT office and other places, but I guess I'm too young to get Social Security, so I just don't know yet.
Well, you still have to, like, make sure your paperwork's in order, right? You still have to make sure that you're in the system, or that... What if somebody got a hold of your Social Security number and bullshit happened, and you're like, what the fuck?
That's happened.
You would probably go there and say, what the fuck? And then the nice people at the Social Security office would be like, what the fuck? And then they would deal with that shit. Okay. They would totally deal.
I'm sure, since I haven't paid taxes since the first Gulf War, eventually I'm going to end up in the Social Security office.
You'd be the one being dragged out.
You don't need that. It's a twist off.
Oh, but it's so much more fun when
It's better for radio. You're right.
Nice. Okay, that was not the sound effect I was looking for, but here we are.
Well, so here we are in San Francisco with Jane.
Elliott.
All right. That was... I'm glad you clarified that for me.
Yes. So, just to clarify further.
Yeah. Jane Elliott.
One of the reasons why I kept the last name of, you know, my third husband was it was a really, really hard decision, because as an artist, you know, you have to kind of think in a more practical way when you have to deal with things like, you know, your where you are socially, where you are out there in the world. And when I really started to put together art, like the robot series and all that stuff, I started with the name Elliott for two reasons. One, I was about to marry this dude, And the second reason was because Sommerhauser is really hard for people to spell. It's a German spelling. Everybody wants to end it with an N, which is wrong. It's clunky. It's long. And Jane Elliott just has this, like, it has a flow. Jane Louise Elliott sounds like I'm an author or something, right? There's a name, it's like, hey, that's easy.
Are we going by Jane Louise Elliott?
No, it's just going by Jane Elliott, but, it just sort of rolls off the tongue a little easier than, Sommerhausen, which is like people saying it wrong and misspelling it and everything else.
I know, I thought you were Jane Sommerhauser.
I am, but that's what people usually say is they say Sommerhausen, and they spell it with a U and all this crap. So keeping Elliott was easier as much as it, was like, oh my God, I don't want anything to do with this dude anymore. I kept the name. So there's two practical reasons here in front of us, but then there's also the third reason, which is like, anytime somebody Googles Elliott, I'm going to come up. And it's, he's going to, if he ever Googles himself, I'm going to pop up. He's going to have to look at that shit.
Oh, I see.
I see the agenda. There's a little bit of knife twisting involved in this. Do you see that?
And I appreciate it immensely.
And also just, it's easier for people to spell, pronounce, deal with,
But you're in the Bay Area. You could, just decide to come up with a whole nother name.
Well, I'm saving that. I'm saving that for if, because I'm on 23andMe now, because I'm adopted. And so I'm saving that for if I ever figure out who my ancestors are. And so if I ever figure out who my ancestors are, I may go do a complete switch. Like, I'm going to pick a name from one of my grandmothers. I'll pick the most badass grandmother there ever was in my lineage. And I'll just be like, this is my new name. And I will probably also change my first name to Alexander, because I really never liked Jane in the first place.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be an Alexander, even though it's a boy name. I'm kind of a boy.
It doesn't have to be a boy. What? It's 2019.
I know, but now it is. But when I first started thinking about the name Alexander was when one of my uncles, who was slightly deaf, did.
What about Xander?
Alexander.
What about just Xander?
No, I know a Xander. No, that's not yeah. So.
It was a Buffy reference.
One of my uncles was deaf, and he thought my name was Alex because he thought I was a boy because my mom cut off all my hair. I used to have hair down to my ass, and she just, chopped it all off right at chin level. So I looked like a little fucking boy. And he thought I was a boy. And so he thought my name was Alexander, or Alex, because he was kind of deaf. And so that stuck with me, and that felt more weirdly natural. To my personality being kind of a tomboy, I preferred power tools to curling irons, I'm that kind of girl. Guy, whatever.
Why don't you just do that now?
Because I just want to wait until I figure out, and the interesting thing about doing your genetic report is that now they have this new twist, which is they tell you how much Neanderthal DNA you have in your system, and I have a lot. Lots, which explains why I can lift up heavy objects all day long, just like one heavy object after another. Okay, no problem.
Is that what makes the difference between human beings and Neanderthals?
Probably. So.
All right, I'll buy it for 500. I'll take the next square.
Okay, good. What's next on our questionnaire, Peter?
Well, now that we've covered your name, I'm sure we can move on to... And we did that in a roundabout way, which was interesting.
Yeah.
But we're both adopted. Let's go to that. So I haven't done any of those genetic testings. I've been looking into it.
Yeah, but you also had full knowledge of your birth situation.
Not really. No. Well, I mean, Catholic Charities. Yeah. You send a letter, and it's like a mutual thing, and you decide if you want to meet. Yeah, there's no... That was like a mutual...
But she never disclosed to you, what your, where all your other relatives were?
We're American, first of all, and no one knows what anyone is. And second, I had two sides of that family, but I don't know, and I don't think they know. We all need to figure it out, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because, there's all these, I have 700 third or fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh cousins, and then I have 2 or 3 people that are in maybe second cousin category. So genetics works in this really weird way where you think that there's a straight line, but there's not. It's like it's a sprawling quilt of peoples and interconnections and names, and
we're all just cousins, fucking cousins.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, we are.
Which is fine if you think about it. If you're okay with it, it's fine.
I'm okay with it. You know,
it's that puritanical bullshit.
I know, but it's also kind of fascinating to see, like, oh, you know, I'm connected to this person who, you know, is connected to this person who's connected to this person, and then you end up way over in left field, and you're like, wow, what the fuck? I'm in the Balkans now, you know, or I'm in Finland if I go back far enough, you know, and that's kind of interesting on just like a weird historical map.
I can see some Finnish in you, actually.
Body parts, yeah. They do this interesting thing now where it's like they do a timeline, and the oldest timeline they can go back to, with what DNA they scored, was Finland, and then I guess there was some kind of like starvation that happened in Finland,
mm-hmm.
and so a lot of those people, they just split off and went in all these different places, and whoever I was related to ended up in the Balkans, and then from there they went to Germany and France, and then, you know, and then eventually America, which is somewhere in America,
mm-hmm.
Virginia, you know. So it's on just like this like Mundi map, you know. Do you know what the Mundi map is? It's like one of those really super old European maps that was done on a calf skin, and it has this, you know, sort of top down perspective, but it's very fanciful, and it's a map of Europe, and you know, it has all of the little monsters in the corners and whatnot, and it's fascinating. So I kind of, you know, three-dimensional, slightly...
Cartography.
Yes, cartography. This is slightly askew buildings that are like, here's the church, and it's like 17 million times bigger than all the little tiny houses around it, and there'll be like a little description of some horrible thing that happened there, and so I kind of think of our genetic makeup as like this Mundi map of there's these high points and low points, and it's very fanciful, and it's out of perspective, and it's sort of skewed, and it's fascinating and weird, and it explains some things, but it leaves open so many more questions. You know, it really does, because you know, everybody's screwing everybody else and having kids, and you think about it, like all these people from way back in time had kids, and then all of a sudden you get here and you decide not to have kids, and it's like, well, that's the end of that tree.
So this is a thought that was going through my brain, because I'm adopted as well,
yeah.
As I already stated. And I have many friends who are adopted, which is one of those weird little strange things that you discover, like suddenly you're like, oh my god, I'm friends with lots of other adopted.
Isn't that weird? Yes.
And the grand majority of my friends who are adopted have not procreated.
Yeah.
And my grand majority of them are all straight female and identified in a certain way.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm also, like, as a queer, I took this on, like, the idea that I'm not going to procreate. But I do you think there's something about the adoption, like, there's a reason that you don't, like, or is an impetus for you, like, on...
For me, personally, yes. Yeah. Because I never had a biological clock. I didn't like babysitting. I didn't really... I never had the desire to reproduce.
Yeah.
And part of it was because, it's like deeply, I feel like, one of the reasons why you're given up for, when you're adopted, you come up with every single fantasy in the book, right? So one of the fantasies, it's not the only one, but one of them is like, I was such a freak, they couldn't handle me, and they tossed me out onto the steps of the fire department, right?
Okay.
So you're like, okay, I'm such a freak, I would only have another freak, so let's just not do that. Okay, let's just nix that. No, we're not going to do that. But then the other side of the coin is like my sister, also adopted. Mm-hmm. She has met her birth mother and her birth father. They have, she has a pretty good relationship with her birth father. She has a really good relationship with her birth mother, much to the dismay of our adoptive mother, who's dead now. Okay.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. And so she's got 4 kids, and
She's bringing it.
You know, she just, you know, she had no problem with that. And what's really strange is that we were raised in the same household with the same parents, you know, and the same experiences. And yet, I think genetics plays so much more of a role in how you... I think it's much more important than most people think, because her genetic structure, you know, called for that. You know, and that's, you know, I've met her birth mother. I haven't met her birth father yet. But her genetic structure kind of called for what she did. And mine was so much the opposite, you know. And so she was totally into having kids, totally into babysitting, totally into, like, producing more children and being a mom and raising these kids and all this other stuff. And I was like, no, absolutely not. And I think that...
Not gonna do it.
No, and this is all me. And I think one of the things is, you know, growing up in Southern California, and seeing how society worked, and kind of peering at it from my viewpoint as an artist, because I've always been an artist out of the fucking womb, whichever womb that was. You know, it's more of an observational life in some ways, and she doesn't have that. She's not a book reader. She's not interested in that kind of stuff, and so she had this calling to produce these children, and that has never happened to me. And we grew up in the same place, in the same house, with the same mom, the same dad, adopted, of course. But I really think that genetics, on that level, when you get, even on an emotional level, it works. It's still there. It still informs you of how your life is going to go forward from that point.
On that point, I was thinking, sorry, did I?
No.
I was thinking that now that you mention it, it wasn't just that I'm talking about my friends who, were women who were adopted, who were mostly not interested in having children. But now that I think about it, they were all. The term artist is it's fine. It's but I think all of these people would identify as mostly. Not to use the word artist, it's a delicate term for me, but people...
Can we just say creatives? People that...
Well, yeah, I didn't mean to get super delicate about it, but I was just saying...
People that can go...
People are just fucking thinking.
Yeah, they're thinking. They can go in different places. They can think about different things. I guess artist is a more specific term than what I meant. I mean, it's like, yes, if you're in the creative mode and you're having you know, you're combining your philosophical thoughts with your emotions and the shit that happened to you on Thursday and a journal entry plus your friends and this new paint you bought.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
I can't have a baby because I just got this fucking turquoise and it's like... yeah.
Exactly. And so, so there's... But, see this, like, okay, so your parents are lovely. And
I would hope so. Yeah.
Your parents are lovely, and so, and yet, you as we were walking down to the liquor store, you were saying, well, they've set themselves up, and they have this savings account that they're putting in now, and these different financial things are happening.
They live in a different structure than I do.
And because of the house and the fire and all this stuff, and they've got their shit kind of lined up in a way that doesn't really, cogitate for you on. And not in a good way or a bad way, but it's just not where you're at. You have your seat of the pants lifestyle. We can just say seat of the pants, and just to be as a.
It doesn't mean I'm a bottom, and it doesn't mean I'm gay. Go on.
Or maybe it does, and but when I look at my brother, who was actually produced by both of my adopted parents, I can see.
We have that in common. We both have brothers who were produced by our adopted parents. Go on.
And we call him, me and my sister call him the original, right? And
is he older?
He's 9 years older than me.
Oh, whoa, mine's younger. But go on.
So, that's interesting. So, So I can see the pieces of the personality that came from mom and the pieces of the personality that came from dad mixed into this one person. I could split him down the middle with a knife, like where this mom piece is and the dad piece is, right? And that even more confirms that this, how genetics and personality are so much interrelated.
Yeah, I don't, do you know it's very common when people adopt children that, and sometimes if they can't conceive or they're having issues with that, if they adopt one, that's what happened in our situation.
Yes, and then the next thing you know...
And
I've
never let my...
pops out.
I never let my brother forget it. Without me,
yes,
she might not exist.
That's true.
But it's a...
I've seen, yes.
But it is also, as adopted, you watch, so I see it as, the genetics, why, how different I was, and then, how similar they were. But I also noticed a lot of stuff that, over the years, I don't know about nature and nurture, I agree with it, that there's, it's not an exact science, first of all.
No.
So you have no fucking idea.
No, it's not. It's an observational science, if that's a thing. You see things. You see what people are doing. I see what my sister does and my brother does, and I see what I do,
I picked up things from my father, no question.
Yeah.
Like listening to BBC before I fall asleep just to be calm.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Totally picked that up.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have thought that one on my own.
I don't know what I picked up from my mom, except for you suck and you don't deserve anything good. I think that's what I picked up from my mom.
Well, I picked up from my mom stealing her art supplies. So
oh, that's nice. Has she started painting again?
Not yet, but she's quilting again.
Oh,
so
good.
That's good. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. There was a fire that burned down my house. This is season 2. I forgot to explain that. We'll get back to it.
Yeah, and Mom makes really fucking good quilts. Oh my God.
Does. And 2 of the most amazing ones ever burned.
Oh God, the one that was
the universe. The explanation of the universe that was over my altar.
I remember the one that was on your bed. That was one of your heroes.
Oh, the bunny.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah, that was a good one. You know what? Thanks for reminding. I forgot about that one.
That one was I didn't see the universe one. I never saw that.
I made an altar in that, you never saw the universe one.
Or maybe I did.
She created her version of how the universe works, and it was basically.
Oh my God.
It was basically like her version. Oh my God. Now I am tipsy. It was like her version of the what's the tarot?
Well, there is the world card.
No. But the
major arcana? Are you talking about the major arcana or the tree of life or
the tree of life? But what's the other word?
Oh, well, because
what's the other word?
Kabbalah?
The Kabbalah thing.
Because
it was her version of the Kabbalah, but she had no idea what the Kabbalah ever was.
Now we fucking have to talk about Promethea.
We do have to talk about Promethea.
Oh my God!
I
need to go back to Promethea. I have been looking for a full set.
You're one of the few people who followed through on me recommending it and actually listening.
Jesus God! And the final.
They're releasing it right now.
He goes through the fucking major arcana with Mike and Spike, the 2 snakes, right?
So genius.
Oh my God! And it
based on the
of the Codicus or the Caduceus.
Oh, no, the Caduceus.
Caduceus, I
or
can't
whatever.
It right.
No, that may be wrong too. No, but it was a parody of the NPR show of the mechanics on Mike and.
Was it really?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so low.
It's brilliant.
No.
Yeah.
I thought
they were 2 brothers.
Was it really Mike and Spike? Because Mike and Spike were the guys.
Were different.
No, but they were the guys that used to do the animation festival here in San Francisco.
Oh, maybe I was wrong.
And one of them died. So Mike and Spike were the animation guys.
Maybe I'm wrong.
And if you went to the Mike and Spike festival, no, it was Ike. Mike and Ike. Maybe it was Mike and Ike. No, that's the candy.
No, exactly.
Oh, but I saw some amazing films.
Our listeners are in for a great ride.
Short animation films. I think it was Mike and Spike. One of them died, and it was down at Palace of Fine Arts. And Oh my God, this is crazy shit. Even I can't remember his name. One of the old.
Was Mike and
Mike and Ike's the Candy, Mike
Yeah,
and
Mike
Spike,
Spike.
and they had the dog that would come out, but these animations were like Plimpton like sticking a pencil through his ear, and there was some really really good stuff, and it was right up there with like Liquid Television, like that level of Liquid Television stuff, like oh my
Those were the
God,
days.
it was really good. 90s. Wow.
It's funny, I was talking about some Liquid Television the other day, when I'm just, whatever, I can't... It's been a long life.
Yeah, it has. And when you think about the technological advances that have like, just slammed the fuck into us, and growing up with a black and white TV that caught on fire when I was a kid, and I never saw color TV. I dreamt in black and white for decades until we got a color TV.
Because your TV was black and white, you dreamt?
I did. I'm not kidding you. And as soon as we got a color TV, it was like fucking Wizard of Oz moment. All of a sudden, it's like, holy shit, Technicolor in my dreams. I'm having a real experience. And
that goes to show you how frightening TV... It's frightening that if you're watching TV and it's black and white, that it frames your dreams in black and white.
And then,
That's
so
frightening.
just think about, like, I get on the bus. There's, a lady there. She has a child. The child is in a stroller. The child's being fussy. What does she do? She hands him not a pacifier or a nice fluffy toy. She hands him a fucking phone with a fucking game on it.
Well, duh.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, wow, what the fuck is happening to us?
Well, I could tell you I dream in green and black screen.
Do you
because
really? Whoa.
Well, because
Tell me more.
that's when I learned how to code, was on a green...
Oh my God, like when I was a travel agent.
I worked for an airline and I used it.
Sabre?
But I also... No, Vanguard and Kansas City. But I also programmed on a... when we first met... Mm-hmm. I forgot to tell you that...
I think we had this discussion about the green screens.
Well, yeah, I just learned to, I was a coder for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like, whatever that meant. Like, HTML coder... No, pre-HTML. What was pre-HTML? I've lost it.
I don't even know. Was it...
I made games, like, on the computer.
Well, there was C, and then there was... No, there's basic. You could do shit in
I'm just going to
basic.
check my Instagram account right now. I'll get right back to you.
Okay, so Peter's now grabbing another beer, even though he says he's going to check his Instagram account, and he's handing me a beer, which is unopened, but I have a completely open beer here in front of me, so we can split this open beer because... No. I'm sticking on the whiskey. Look at the crowd is bigger outside.
What I really wanted was a cigarette.
Okay, well, if we
open the windows,
if we open the window, the noise is going to get...
Well, it doesn't matter. We can just take a smoke break, and the listeners can hold on to it. It's fine. No, we don't pause it.
We don't pause it. We just smoke.
No.
Okay, opening the window.
There's some hot guy on a bicycle going by, too.
Oh, they're all over the place. There's hot guys all over this fucking neighborhood.
Nope.
Are you kidding you? All right, can you smoke this one?
I have another one. Oh.
This is the light. I don't know what you want. They're not going to be able to hear us over all this noise.
They don't. We can just take a break and they can hear the music. Look, Jane.
Okay.
It's really easy. Watch this.
Oh, well, you can actually edit this shit.
We don't need that. It's time waster radio.
Oh, yes. Waste your time on 22nd in Valencia. I have no idea how this shit works.
God damn it. I haven't done that in months.
Okay, we'll save that for another day.
Your room. You will smoke that. I haven't done that in months. Jane, I cannot tell you. I've only done that like 5 times.
I'm gonna frame this.
No.
Oh, that's totally
Oh.
fucking okay. I'm gonna frame this in some kind of like encasement. We can add it to my story.
I love the kids dancing. You don't have to entertain them. They'll get it.
Oh, well, there's not much.
Oh, there's a guy with a lacrosse stick. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
This
no.
town, I swear to God, I can't take that. That's going too far.
I saw a lacrosse stick on the bus the other day. There's the cute blonde girl. Whoops.
What did you just do? For the listeners at home, Jane just threw a random object out the window. I think it was a napkin, so
I was having a defenestration moment. I can't help myself.
She threw a tampon at someone.
No, it was not. I haven't bled for like 10 years. What the fuck are you talking about, Peter? Oh, I'm sure your listeners are going to be really interested in that. Yes.
Of course they are.
No, she's old. We don't want to listen to that shit. Yay! Thank you! Yeah!
We have to get to the point where we scream, what's the band's name about?
Where's your set list? Oh no, this is fucking summer. This is why I'm gonna miss this place.
I'm excited.
And this is the thing. It's like San Francisco. This is what San Francisco is supposed to be like.
It's true, and it's happening right in front of us.
It's happening right in front of us, and they're gonna go down to the bar. I think they said, or they're gonna do one more tune, one of the two, and. This,
Or they said, you guys go to the bar.
Weirdness in San Francisco is like...
it's contagious. It does happen.
It's contagious.
I've been saying this, is like, much as I worry about the city, there's a certain part of the city that you can try your hardest, but something... I mean, it's expensive. It's hard to keep up. But these kids will be around.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of weird that you just can't get rid of. Like, you try to stomp it out with
It's
rent.
infectious here.
You try to stomp it out with, like, this, that, and the other thing, but somehow, some way, somewhere, there's going to be something fucking weird happening, and you're not going to be able to stop it. And if you have a heart, you're going to fucking jump the fuck in there. And do that weird thing too.
I think when people come here, even for let's just say the most nefarious reasons, and I don't even know what those are, and I don't even have those opinions. But even when you come here for nefarious reasons, this city will still infect you. It'll turn you into something you thought you weren't.
Yeah. It's the city of dreams, and that's one of the reasons why I moved to.
There's gold in them there hills.
There is, and it's
your soul, baby. It's your soul.
It's one of the reasons why I was okay with moving to Oakland. I've spent collectively about 10 years in Oakland because Oakland has this very gritty, very real, almost like Los Angeles, but in a slightly different way. Oakland has this very gritty, very real, very grounded situation.
It's more Midwestern over there.
And I think that when you live in the city of dreams, you have to fucking step away from it and go get dirty for a minute. You have to go get fucked up and dirty, and then come back to the city of dreams and reassess yourself. And so now I'm in the reassessing area, and maybe I'll stay here if I can, if I get a good buyout.
I wouldn't say that Oakland's dirty. I would say that Oakland is just more, it's more functional on a certain level, but but the problem is the Bay Area, let's be clear, Oakland is San Francisco now. It's intertwined.
That bridge don't mean nothing. Not really.
It used to be a huge divide, which is frightening, and now it's all for the rich. Which is fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Or not fine.
Well, I mean, as long as there's this little Achilles heel of weirdness happening here, there's still a potential for, art getting done, poetry getting done, dance getting done, all these things, But as soon as they sever that Achilles heel, and I'm saying Achilles heel because I think that's the way they think about it. They think about it as a way to just, make more money, increase their bank accounts, increase their holdings. But there's still going to be this shit happening on a street corner because people are weird. They want to be weird. They want to be weird in public or private, whatever. But you can't stop weird. You just fucking can't stop weird.
Do you think that, people, I feel like I think the city just is a magnet for, it's obvious, it's exclusive at this point. It is on many levels. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I cannot deny that as I walk through the streets. There's no way. But there is still something interesting, you can, again, you come here, I think people come here for a reason, and then the city changes you. The city changed me.
Yeah, it changed me too. I was, to refer back to a previous podcast about Peace Eagle, I had no idea what asparagus was before I moved here.
Yeah, I didn't know what a persimmon was. And even though they grew in Kansas, I still didn't know until I got here.
And this is a city based on food, but it's also still the city of herb cane. It's also the city of city lights. Lawrence Ferlinghetti.
Oh, I was going to say Ferlinghetti.
Yes,
damn it. And we're two white people talking. We're talking about Ferlinghetti, of course.
We are. And there's still a little piece of that floating around, but it's just getting harder to find. But then, here we are sitting in my fucking room on a Tuesday night, Tuesday night, and there's a Balkan band plying their trade outside of my window, and I'm lucky to live here, and I know that. And I'm lucky to live here with low rent, and I know that. And I know that this is limited. This is for a limited time offer.
This coupon's expiring.
Yeah, and it's, the coupons are expiring for pretty much, artists, poets, writers, everybody. Our coupons are expiring. But can we pull this back? Can we make it weird again? That's what I want to see. I want to see the fucking weird come out of San Francisco again. And that's who I want to talk to. I want to talk to the freaks and the fairies. I don't enjoy conversations with normal people anymore. What do they have? It's like, yeah, you got a house, you got a kid. That's great. Good for you. But what I want is, these people playing on this corner. I was
loving the skater girl during the Balkan dance.
Yes. And there's, what are you going to fucking do with your life? Are you going to enjoy it? Well, enjoy it by picking up a fucking saxophone or a sousaphone or a trumpet and getting on a street corner with a bunch of fucking other weirdos.
Or you could just get drunk and turn the microphone on with a loud band playing.
Exactly! That is why we are here with Peter Max Lawrence and Jane Elliott.
Whoa, thanks for doing the station break there.
Woohoo! Station break.
Just in case you forgot, you're listening to Time Waster Radio. Radio for those who refuse to listen.
Coming to you from above, Luca's Deli, which is going to close in a few days. Get your salami now.
In a few days?
Yeah, the 20th. They're out on the 20th.
Oh, shit, that is a few days.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be invaded by rats the moment they leave. I have an actual fear of this because I lived at Hazmat. I don't know if you guys know me that well, but I lived at Hazmat, and we had a rat infestation. So, yes, rats. I'm worried about rats at this point.
Did you ever have roaches? I don't remember roaches in any of the places I lived in San Francisco.
No. Roaches, the only place I ever saw roaches was at the, Dino's. At Dino's on California and Fillmore. And I used to go there in 1989. And yes, it was a shit fucking Italian joint, and I would go there every Sunday as a treat because I was working as a travel agent at the time, and that was my fucking treat, was to go to Dino's, have an Italian dinner, and smash little tiny roaches as they crawled up the walls. Now it's a nice joint. I think it's still actually there. But
I think someone told me it's one of the best Italian places in the world now.
Dino's? Oh my God.
I think so. I've heard this.
I haven't been there in like 15 years. I should probably go. Because, it's still there. But all the other places around there are gone. The lower Fillmore, gentrified pretty quick after I got here.
Is the lower Fillmore also, that became Hayes Valley, no?
No, it's more like the Fillmore, the venue of Fillmore.
Lower Hayes.
And there used to be this place called the Brown Bag, and there was a liquor store where you could go in, and the guy behind the counter was always wearing a baseball cap that had the name of a philosopher on it instead of a ball team, which I really loved.
Yeah. I got a Blue Moon the other day. Bougie, I know, it was Blue Moon. At, what's the liquor store below Miss P's new place?
Oh, I don't know what it's called.
Hobby.
Yeah. Rami and Jack run that place.
Rami was working the morning shift. I was coming from a Sunday, walk of shame from Modesto.
Oh, joy!
And I went in to get a beer. And I love him so much. He did not remember who I was. He remembered exactly who I was.
Yes.
And I got my beer. But he was pissed because he had just gotten on his shift. And I got my beer. Because, by the way, down in the Hayes Valley-ish Civic Center area, they were asking for $6.99 for a tall beer.
$7?
Jane, this is the first of all, you know how broke I am generally.
I know.
Okay. When he charged me, I brought it to the counter, and I was a little wary that it didn't have a price tag on it, and I was like, fuck. I don't like that part of the new San Francisco either.
No, I don't either.
It bothers me to no end. I put my beer down. He rings it up, and he's like, that'll be $6.99. I maybe in the last 15 years of my life had gone, what? Normally I'd go, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong place, and just kind of walk away. But that was part of my old neighborhood. And I was like, hold on. Wait, can you scan it again? That's not, I was like, $3.99. Mm-hmm. I'll pay $4.99 because it's Sunday morning and I need to get drunk. But I am not. And he goes, $6.99. And I go, are you fucking kidding me? And then the guy running the store goes, yeah, $6.99. I go, and I just walked out. Then anyways, I walked 9-10 blocks. Mm-hmm. It was $4.99. And I was like, okay, fine.
That's sad.
Which was even more. It's sad that I was willing to pay for that. But
it's still. It's like, when I'm feeling special, when I'm having a special moment, I go and I get a fin du monde, and
I don't even know what that is.
It's really nice.
Uh-huh.
It has a champagne cork. And it's tall.
It's a prosecco or something.
No, it's a beer. It's a tall beer.
Okay.
But it's with the champagne cork and.
One of those. I've seen them.
It's the fucking end of the world. Like, how could you not drink that? And so if I go up this way.
She's referring to that which shall not be spoken. Go on.
If I go up the street this way, I can get it for $10, and I'll do it because it's a special occasion.
Because you're going to treat yourself.
Yes, but if I go down to Disco Liquor, which is Mr. Liquor, which is the fun liquor store, they didn't have it for a long time, and I said, do you guys ever get Fin du Monde or Chimay or something? And they're like, we'll get it for you! And so they go through this whole thing of, they order this shit, and it's almost $16.
Chimay. I know what a Chimay is.
Yes. So I can't.
Never was able to afford a Chimay while in town. So I see what you're lovely.
Oh my God! You know what we should do is we should go to fucking the Knock Knock and get some fucking Chimay there. And then it's because you're at the Knock Knock. It's still there. I haven't been back in ages, and I really, 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 really would like to go to the Knock Knock.
I'll take you to the knockout.
Yeah, this would be nice.
Maybe not tonight, but...
No, not tonight. What are we, like, 3/4 of the way through this ancient age?
Sister, that's mostly, I'm going to take a sip right now.
Go for it. Well, the band is done. They have finished the band.
Are you sure they're taking a break? I don't think they're taking... Look, they haven't moved. This is...
Okay, it's break taking. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's talk about something serious while they're being quiet.
Oh, what? What fucking serious thing could possibly happen?
Heartburn caused by
my cheap ass
ancient whiskey.
It's my AA meeting.
We're having our AA meeting together.
No, that's the way it works.
We're offending so many people, and fuck you. Don't care.
This is going on for a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but that's all right.
You can kill it whenever you want.
We've talked about genetics and the neighborhood and everything else. And
as soon as it got quiet, now you want to... See, you were comfortable with the noise.
I was comfortable with the noise because I'm not entirely sure what I have to say that is of any
Well, we haven't talked about your art. Do you not want to talk about it?
What's there to talk about? I'm in a transitional phase. I'm transitioning, as I like to say.
Oh, girl, really?
Okay. But in an art way, and not in.
You don't have to clarify.
Not in a sexual way.
Or gendered way.
Yeah, gendered way. Although
you could though.
I could, but I don't want to do any surgery. I just want to become Alexander.
You and I are both surgery phobic.
Yeah. I don't even like taking aspirin.
You're so Bay Area.
No, it's just the thing. It's just like it's just like work your way through the pain. Just get on with it. You're
Midwestern.
I don't maybe
or Southern.
No, yeah, well, Southern because Virginia is technically Southern. But I think
some people think Kansas is the South.
I think it's like I want to do art all the time. If I don't do art, I want to kill myself. And it's the salvation that has led me through many, 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 many low points. It's just like, okay, get the fuck up and do some fucking art. And now I know that I'm transitioning from this desire to do fine art, gallery art, do the deed, find a gallery, be that person. I've never been that.
What?
I just don't work that way. I don't.
Me either.
I'm much more literal, and coming to terms with being more literal about what I want to produce as an image, has been kind of hard-fought sort of situation, because I want to produce an artistic creation that speaks on many different levels, but what I'm drawn to naturally is more of an illustrative style, and so I have found this sort of middle ground at the moment, and this is where I am now. I don't know where this is going to lead, but the middle ground now is I've been doing some book covers, and I've done 2 children's books, and so I find the illustrative style something that's more direct, not as esoteric and out there and philosophical or whatever. Although that is what I'd like to do, I find the illustrative style more in tune with my own personality. Which is just
you're good at it.
Just more direct and more like, here's a story. This thing happens in the story. Here's a picture of what happened in the story. And that's fine. And it's taken me a while to come to terms with that. Just like the desire to be a fine artist and to produce on that level is really attractive, but it's very difficult. And it's
for an elite crowd in many ways. Like that's part of the thing that we're on the same page on this. I really, honestly,
because your style can be looked at as illustrative too.
100%. I think it's because it's mostly influenced by that. Like, I like direct thoughts. This is why I don't like discussing when people say, like, when they see a piece, like, what's the meaning of the work. It doesn't matter if it's a sculpture.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what medium I'm using.
Yeah.
I like to be very direct in the piece, for me, and then whatever you interpret, great. go for it. But I really can't stand this pontificating of like, and then I was...
Whoa, I totally agree. Yeah. I do. I know exactly what you're saying. Because there's this point where it's like, yeah, I scribbled some shit down and it means this weird thing to me. And like, great, you're getting your shit out there, you're doing your thing. But on the other hand, you know, I want to tell a story. I want to be part of a story. I love murder mysteries and, you know, foggy London scenes and all that kind of stuff. And you know, I just kind of fall into I'm finding that, you know, as I get older, I'm falling into a category. And on the one hand, it's like I want to fight against that and just be like, I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want. Fuck you. Fuck everyone. But on the other hand, it's like, this feels natural. This feels right. It's okay. I don't have to struggle, you know, and what is, you know, struggle is just like this attempt to figure out who the fuck you are. But when you figure out who the fuck you are and you're still struggling, well, that's just you punching yourself in the face, basically, you know. And so I just have to stop hitting myself, you know, and just like, yeah, I'm more of an illustrator. I really like, you know, taking somebody's artwork, their artwork being, because I've been doing these book covers lately, taking their artwork, which is their story that they've written, and translating it into a visual image just for the cover, or, you know, for the two children's books, it was, you know, for scenes or characters or whatnot, and producing something that has this like little multi-dimensional layering thing going on, you know, like there's a story, there's some artwork, so you can look at it as a piece of art. And you can look at it as, you know, an extrapolation of what was written by the author. And I like that. I like the collaboration, and I like developing a scene, and, you know, I think the only thing that I could do that would be more interesting would be doing, you know, set design for a theater, which kind of falls into the same category for me. Which would be really fun, because it also...
Yeah, totally, I agree.
It would involve, you know, other skills that I have, which is like major power tool action.
Yeah, you like to make shit.
Fuck yeah.
When I met you, you were a sculptor on many levels. I mean, I love your illustrations are amazing. And I don't say that lightly.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you don't, you work visually like in a linear, like you do, like you like lines like I do. We're into lines.
Very linear, yes. And linear not just in an artistic sense, but also in from point A to point B, just from like, here's the thing, how do you describe the thing? Oh, it's like this. You know, it's linear. It's not like I'm going to be all Jackson Pollock on this shit, you know?
Oh, God, did you have to mention that, Queen?
Sorry. But, you know, just as the biggest, you know, like, let's throw shit at it and see what sticks. Yeah, Jackson Pollock.
But he was funded by the CIA. That's a whole different subject.
What? Okay, we can go into this later. Side note.
It's a theory I've heard.
Oh man.
It involves the moon landing, but
and probably lots of LSD, I'm sure. Moon landing,
not
LSD,
me.
Jackson Pollock.
First of all, my LSD does not involve any of those things. When I go on LSD, it is super personal. It is not about the moon landing. It's about narcissism. I go straight to the root. Just to be clear.
I'm going to have to do drugs with you. It's
been a while.
On this fucking level.
Did we ever trip mushrooms together? No.
No.
We never did any hallucinogens.
No. We did not.
We only drank.
Yes, we drank.
We had some marijuana.
We drank and we stole vegetables.
Girl, remind me. I mean, I know I stole vegetables.
No, I have
Please,
this.
I want to hear this one.
I have this. No. This is very short. I have this new roommate now. He's a guy. So anyways, he's saying, "Oh, my friend Peter's coming over." Peter's coming over? Oh yeah, my friend Peter. He used to be one of my roommates. And I described the loft that you lived in above the front door, which was 4.5 feet tall, and that was hilarious. And then I also said,
I'm sorry, can I just intervene here? 4.5 feet. Wasn't that tall? I'm not even sure it was that tall. But
okay, maybe 4 feet.
But it was a storage space in front of a storefront.
Yes.
In the sunset.
Yes, at 19.
With I guess the kids need to know that there was no insulation.
No, there wasn't. It was completely fucked up. And I
love that. If I could have stayed in that room forever, I probably would have. That's the sad part.
It was actually really sweet. That building is not even there anymore.
No, it is there.
Oh, what? They
Dell.
fucking kicked us out, and they still kept the building?
Our friend Dell.
They told us they were going to
lives in the apartment behind it. No, it's a kindergarten now.
Wait, where the fucking fire extinguisher people were?
They've turned both buildings have been turned into a kindergarten.
I want to kill them. They kicked us out for no reason.
They kicked it out to teach children.
We could still be there. So, okay, what the fuck were we? Oh my god, now I have to go back. Oh my god.
I will never forget. You know what? I forget that I lived in that space. Thank you.
Food. It was about the food. So you and I, starving to death, you turned me on to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was brilliant. Fucking love that. Love it, love it, love it. And then we had no idea that there was a thing called food stamps. So we did not. We didn't.
Yeah, that's how white we were. That's how white we were.
So we would go.
That's privilege. When you were raised by people who are like, well, you're not. You cannot even. You might be dying, and we were literally. This is not
starving.
Yeah,
we were starving. So we would go.
We were starving to death together. Jane, I'm sorry, we didn't do a moment of hug. We were
starving to death together. I was not exactly unemployment, and you were not exactly employed, and so we would go down to around the corner, across the street, not very far. Buy the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Kentucky Fried Chicken place. Remember the mattress? Like, chickens have died for your sins was spray painted on the mattress outside of the Kentucky. Okay, anyway.
Don't forget about the rich kids, the skaters who moved in.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
And then, so I would go in and I would buy a scone. And so this is how I described you to my new forced upon me arranged marriage roommate. Was I would go in and buy a scone or a thing of pasta noodles, and then you would fucking stick a fucking pineapple under your arm and grab whatever else you could, like, and just walk the fuck out. So I would buy
got so good at that.
$3 worth of stuff, and you would be like, we got pineapple, let's go. And then we would watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer and eat pasta and use that stick to change the channels on the television in the kitchen.
I think so. I don't remember if you're. Yeah, it's true.
Oh my god, that was so good.
And these were in the aughts, by the way. This wasn't in the 90s. This was in the aughts. We were. Oh, and the hurricane too. The hurricane.
You were collecting mushrooms in the park and drying them in the oven.
I was not even from Kansas. I thought. Anyways.
We're so lucky we didn't die.
Yeah, no, I know. I do realize that now. I was drying mushrooms in our oven I was just collecting mushrooms from the park, and I don't know why either. Like I just needed a hobby at the point. Like. Painting only took up like 8 hours a day, so I needed to do something else.
There was so much. Okay, so you paint for 8 hours. We steal vegetables. That takes about 20 minutes, and then watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and that took about a half an hour. And then the next thing you know, it's like. But the memory that I have, that's the clearest memory of that unit, was Monica was taking a bath.
Nico now, yes.
Yes, Nico was taking... Okay, well
at the time,
Monica.
Yeah.
Monica was taking a bath. And outside, on the back side, there was this window that was on the back porch that looked into the bathroom. Monica was taking a bath. You were sitting in the toilet taking a piss. And I was standing outside the back window smoking. And we were having this hilarious fucking conversation.
That roof. I forgot about the roof.
Yes, there was a back porch. And so I'm just standing there fucking smoking. You're peeing. Monica's taking a bath. And it was just like, this is fucking heaven.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but that is like the thing about that place. Yeah, you lived above the roof. There was those weird people that I rented the space out to do art.
Monica had the main bedroom. You had the weird, like, side room.
It was so skinny. It was like being on a boat. Oh my God.
You were living on like a houseboat.
I was living on a houseboat.
The other part too, though, I thought was really funny, and I just want to, for the listeners, and for us, I got so good at stealing like 20-pound bags of rice. This was like my horrible. I still feel guilty about this.
What?
My ability.
When did you steal a 20-pound bag of rice?
Not at that place. I thought I was doing it there too.
You must have been because there was rice.
That was the only thing I could That was part of the rent. I was like, I can bring rice, and I would come back. I just
remember this fucking pineapple sticking out from underneath your arm.
Oh, no.
And it was so amazing to me. I was like so in awe of your abilities. I was like, holy fuck, we're gonna have fruit.
Yeah. I remember that too.
Otherwise,
for persimmon season, I was doing those too.
We would have fucking
so bad
scurvy. We would have died of scurvy before that.
The karma I have to endure for stealing all of that fruit.
No, it's all good. And we should really probably make a donation to that fucking, vegetable store.
We should go there and like.
Hi, we used to steal shit from you. Here's $20.
Or here's a piece of art. Save it for an auction in 50 years, please.
Oh my God, no! They don't want to talk to us. They were just thieves. We were just thieves.
No, we were horrible. But we were beautiful. Horrible.
Well, we were, and yes, and there was the barber shop across the street that said, "We do shave." Remember the Russian barber shop that said, "We do shave." That was their sign in the window. We do shave.
That's before I realized that was partially a Russian neighborhood. Yeah. I'm from Kansas. I was super naive. I had no idea.
If you don't see dried fish in a window, you figure, I'm not in Russia. I don't know.
Oh my God, no, I've spent a lot of time in that area now, and like, as I like to say, with adult eyes, I see lots of different things, including Clement Street. I think Clement Street is where I was taking their bags of rice. I think so, because I don't think they had those. I do not remember you actually stealing them. I just remember there was rice there, and we ate it. Jane, I think you don't understand this. I probably, when we were living together, I would, like a pioneer, I would cross the Golden Gate Valley. I'm not joking. I would go back, because I knew in Clement Street where I could go pick up a bag of rice.
Oh my God, that's brilliant, Peter.
We're having rice. Do you forget how much rice pudding and other things we were having?
I know, but I didn't know you were going all the way across the park to procure a provision.
I'm pretty sure Monica told me at one point, she was like, don't tell Jane that part of the way that you earn a living is by stealing.
No, but we were both stealing shit together.
Oh, I know that, but there were
levels.
To this
okay. So I was okay with I'm gonna be your cover. I'll buy the scone.
Yeah, exactly.
You get the fuck everything else. And
I'll just pineapple today. I do remember when they were like,
oh my God.
I really want something tropical, and
I know, but the fucking, we were starving, and it was like, yes, we were going to get scurvy, and we were probably going to fucking die from the mushrooms in the park, and I can't believe
from the spores of the mushrooms I was drying in the oven.
I have no idea why. This my love for that moment in my life goes so deep, and it
was a special time.
I remember the night of the striped tights.
I thought you said striped twats.
I was about to say twats. No, it's the striped tights. The striped tights night. That's so ridiculous. And it was like the first time I had been out on a date in forever, and I put on these striped tights. And it was like, and I had a spare pair, and you put them on, and there was like striped legs all over the fucking place.
I had those, and you know what? I had those tights those tights. I didn't get rid of those tights until I got evicted from 1905. No.
4.
1903.
6.
No, I was in 1903.
Whatever. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. That's, oh, man.
Well, we're a dying breed.
Yes, we are. And at this point, I think we should stop this recording.
Oh.
Because I think everybody has probably had enough of us.
It's called Time Waster Radio. It doesn't matter. But if you're done,
I'm feeling kind of done. I could spew, but it would just be random shit. And
as we just admitted our thieving.
We admitted our undying love for striped tights, twats, whatever.
This is your interview. If you want it to be over, it's over.
I don't know what else I can say at this point that isn't like stupid, ridiculous, and drunk.
Well, we could open the window and smoke a cigarette and ask this band what their fucking name is.
They're done. Look how done they are. They're so suffocating. We can smoke more
they've
cigarettes.
got their fans. They've got their fans. But if you want, before you do that, if you want to end it, because I want you to feel free and spacious.
Oh, well, you know...
There's an ending to the show.
There is... Oh, we have to sing more? Mm-hmm. Oh, let's sing more. We're going to sing more. Okay.
Well, this has been a really fun hour.
And a half, maybe.
No, it's only an hour.
Oh, really? Okay. This is going to be a big fat file. All right.
Just send it to me and delete. It's fine. Jane.
Peter.
I know we got a little tipsy.
Yeah.
And we put out some secrets, but not really that big. We're pretty good, actually.
I think we did good.
I think we did all right.
Yeah.
We have to end the show.
We have to end the show.
So, we sing the song.
Okay.
Do you remember it? Do I need to remind you?
Yes, you do.
Okay. I'll sing it one more time. It's fine. You're not the only one. It happens to most people. Time Waster Radio. Radio for those who refuse to listen. Thank you so much, Jane.
Good night. I love you, Peter.
I love you, Jane. Thank you so much.
Mwah.
No regrets.
No regrets.